Besides being a beautiful sight, what exactly is a first quarter moon? The cycle of lunar phases begins with the moon directly between the Earth and the Sun, and none of the lit up side of the moon faces the Earth at that time, which is why you only ever see the new moon during a solar eclipse. The moon is orbiting Earth, so each day the angle between the Sun, Earth, and Moon changes in a way that allows us to see more of the lit up portion each day. The moon is said to be waxing during this part of its cycle. About 1 week after the new moon, it will reach first quarter, halfway between the new and full phases. You know it's a first quarter when exactly half of the moon appears visible in the sky. Many people refer to this as a half moon, but its actual name is based on the fact that the moon is exactly 1/4 of the way through its orbit around Earth, and that's why we call it a first quarter moon, even though it looks like a half moon in the sky. Now to get a little more specific, which half of a first quarter moon is lit up? That depends on where you are on the globe. If you live in the northern hemisphere, it will look like the right-hand side is lit up. Observers in the southern hemisphere will see it as being the left-hand side that's lit. The same features on the surface are visible for everyone in either case, but the image is flipped upside down and backwards based on your location. The largest features visible on the moon's surface are the smooth, dark-looking areas. These areas are so smooth that the Greeks and Romans thought that they could only be bodies of water, such as seas or oceans, even though we now know these regions are covered in rock rather than water. Mare is the Latin word for sea, and we still use many of these Latin names today. Let's zoom in and take a look at a few of them. The Sea of Chryses, or Mare Crisium, is one of the easiest mare to find because it's near the edge of the moon. Move up and to the north a little and you'll find the opposite, Mare Serenitatis, the Sea of Serenity. Just below that is the Sea of Tranquility, the site where mankind first set foot on the moon. The Sea of Nectar and Sea of Fecundity are just below that. And all of these are easy to see with the naked eye. Zoom in a bit more and you'll see craters, mountains, and even a few valleys. The largest craters are named after ancient philosophers such as Aristotle, characters from Greek and Roman mythology, such as Hercules and Atlas, while others are named after people in history who were important scientists, astronomers, and even explorers. The southern hemisphere of the moon is very heavily cratered. In some places you can even see the circular ridges of the craters overlapping, evidence that a new crater formed on top of an older one that was already there. Look deep into the center of the crater and you may even be able to see a central mountain on the crater floor. Chains of mountains also formed as a result of incredibly large asteroid impacts. The dark material within the Maria is lava that filled in the low spots and then cooled. Some mountain ranges, such as the Caucasus Mountains, formed when material was pushed up and piled as a result of impacts on either side of what is now the mountains. At first quarter, you can just barely see the lunar Alps along the edge of the darkness. The Alpine Valley, along the edge of the Alps, is a straight, narrow valley with a smooth floor in a region of rough terrain. Most people think that the best time to look at the moon is when it's full, but many experienced observers prefer viewing around first and third quarter. Why? Because of shadows. During the full moon, the sun's light is shining directly down on the moon's surface. As a result, we don't see any shadows, and the moon is so bright that we can't see the small details either. There's just too much glare. The line between light and dark is known as the terminator. First quarter is great because the terminator is right down the middle of the moon where there are lots of craters and mountains. These features can look nice at the full moon, but shadows cast by mountains and the rims of craters are really a special sight. There are even places where you can see mountain tops surrounded by darkness below. Watch them closely through a telescope and the shadows will be different every night. And sometimes you can even see a change from 1 hour to the next. As fun as pictures of the moon can be, and as detailed as this image is, nothing compares with seeing the moon with your own eyes or through a telescope. Consider contacting an astronomy club near you to see when the next public star party is. In the meantime, please consider subscribing to this channel to explore other videos on the moon, the sun, and eclipses. Hope to see you again here in Totality Town.